is way too much damage. Stop him with the block! He fell charge.
And he found
wow.
Wow.
Oh, what?
He gets out!
Somewhere there's a covert muffin just applauding this seed.
Holy crap.
Oh man, this is gonna come down to execution in the final escape, isn't it?
Sure is.
Every seed
Our
does.
favorite phrase.
Hello and welcome, folks, to the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament 2021. We are here in the preliminary week in order to do some free-for-all action, in order to seed our players for a double elimination bracket that's going to be starting next week. But that being said, we have 18 racers today, but here we are going to be featuring two of them, which is going to be poogleracer versus Guard. But that being said, my screen name is Covert Muffin. I'm going to be on comms today. And joined with me is none other than Turtle Guy. How are you doing, Turtle?
I'm doing great, Muffin. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and so this is really crazy. This is our third singles tournament that we've done for the randomizer itself. And we have 49 runners overall in total, which is insane. That is the most runners we've ever had at a randomizer tournament before. So very, very excited to see what happens. But also, that being said, we actually got a chance to talk to Poogle and Guard ahead of time. So, Turtle, tell me some stuff about Guard. How are they feeling?
Yeah, so Guard, one of the things that I found interesting about Guard's pre-run interview is that Guard is hoping for a longer seed, particularly something with Sunstone or Watervein, somewhere hidden deep within Forlorn or Lost Grove or Horu. I think it'd be really interesting to see one of those longer seeds, though, so I'll keep an eye out for that. Guard also has a goal to get in the top 15 to 20 people in the preliminary stage, which is going to be tough. We have some great runners, but I think Guard can definitely pull it off, and we'll see how they play in this race today.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So on Poogle's end of the spectrum, she's hoping for a bash start, but does not want to hope to find nade, because Guard is a keyboard and mouse player, and Poogle is a controller runner, but she will switch to hybrid in certain cases that come up, certain tricks that we'll go over once we see them crop up. But that being said, Poogle today is just kind of focused on execution. She's just trying to relax and have fun. She's not really over competitive for the tournament itself, but she just loves the community, is happy and excited to contribute. And so very much looking forward to seeing both of these runners race today. But a question for you, Turtle, like, how are you feeling about the seeds? Like, we've had a seed jump start in 4 out of these 5 preliminary races. Are you hoping for another seed jump start for this one, or maybe something else?
I don't know. I like C jump, but my personal favorite skill to find in any seed is double jump. I love the unique verticality that it gives, as well as the unique wall interaction that can be done with it. What about
double
you,
jumps?
Muffin?
Yeah, double jump's insane. Like, it just adds so much versatility to every single other skill that you could end up finding. For me, I'm hoping we just find grenade jumps immediately, and then have to like go to Forlorn or something.
Grenade jumps are always fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, we have had a water vein gated in Horu seed, so I mean, Guard might get their wish if we get another seed like that. So it'll be interesting to see. But for my hopes for the seed is that both of the runners just end up putting on a good show. Both of them are maybe feeling a little bit nervous, especially Guard, but I know he'll pull through and do a great job.
Absolutely. And it's hard not to feel the nerves when you're in a big race in front of an audience like this, but these two runners are both fantastic.
All right, folks, and so we are going to get this race underway. Looks like all of our runners have readied up, so we're going to be switching overlays now over here. So in the top left, you're going to see Poogle on the left, and then on the right, we're going to end up seeing Guard with their game screens at the top and their trackers at the bottom. And they should start momentarily. Yep, there they go. So really interesting thing here is that with the trackers themselves, what is going to go on is in the bubbles is going to be tracking the skills. They don't have signed yet, but they will be getting signed within the first minute. So that's just one of the pickups that's just not randomized because we want to allow our runners to be able to attack it. There are speed runs that do skip sign as kind of a fun constraint, But for the sake of the randomizer, that might be a little bit much for most of our players.
Yeah. And another thing you'll notice on the trackers is around the outside are these little icons for the trees. That is the goal of this randomizer. Just so that the runners don't go straight to the final escape, we've implemented a system where you have to find all 10 vanilla skill locations. And so our runners will be prioritizing looking for those as they run around grabbing other pickups.
Exactly. And so if you are new to Ori and the Blind Forest, it's a 2D Metroidvania platformer. So those skill locations around the map in the normal game is where you end up getting these skills. However, this is an item randomizer, so you can't tell what a pickup is going to be until you collect it. However, we could end up just finding a skill like at an EXP orb or a keystone. And speaking of which, we do have a 2 keystone start, so we're going to see the runners open up glades. That just opens up 4 more pickups into logic currently. So they have 6 more pickups until they are guaranteed to find the next bit of progression, because every single seed that you end up starting in this randomizer is going to be finishable by a set of standard logic. Oh, all right. So we just found a health cell, which is a really nice resource. That's going to give our runners a little bit more survivability as they end up going through. But some other nice things that they could end up finding are, another health cell. So there's going to be 5 health there. Guard just deciding to Alt-R immediately, which is a functionality that's built in the randomizer to be able to teleport back to the start. Think of it like a Link to the Past, where once you quit out and reload, you can spawn at the house or the sanctuary. But yeah, so let's see what happens next as our runners head over into glades.
And having health this early is really nice. There are a lot of tricks that require damage boosts, which if you only have 3 health, those can be really scary. As well, towards the end of the run, if they don't find clean water or a couple of other skills, the final escape can force them to use some damage boosts. But having 5 health is kind of the minimum if they find like dash and charge jump.
Yeah, very good point. And I love seeing what both of these runners are doing. They're putting the 2 keystones in and then progressing on glades. This saves something like 3 to 4 seconds because you don't actually have to like sit there and wait for the doors to open. And oh boy, there is our first skill, and it is bash. Why is bash the most important pickup in the entire randomizer turtle?
Bash is incredible. You can do almost anything with bash because if there is an enemy, if there is a projectile, you can use them like we're about to see with guard. You can use them to propel yourself pretty quickly in any direction. So it's a lot of pickups will be able to be. Oh wow! And we also just found climb on guard's side.
Excellent. All right. So with climb, they're going to be breathing a sigh of relief because now they don't have to do a lure into spirit caverns, which is actually a logic path in standard, which is glorious. But yeah, climb is going to be really important because it gives us a little bit of wall interaction so that we can actually interact with walls. But also, it is the first of 3 pickups that could potentially get us my favorite glitch, which is the grenade jump. So we'll see if that ends up happening. We haven't had a grenade jump seed yet, this preliminaries, and so I'm waiting to see until we get one. But having bash, having wall interaction at the start, we are in for a treat as the runners can do pretty much all of right side now with those 2 skills.
Oh man, Muffin, look at this sync as both of the runners are getting to the wall jump tree at the same time with about the same skills.
Beautiful.
This is a close race, and I'm so excited to see how the runners route it from here.
Yeah, really nice so far. Not too many any sort of like executional errors. Like I remember Poogle mentioning in the pre-run interview that she was going to try and just like chill out and try and focus on execution. But here's our first real routing divergence. We're going to see Poogle luring this Frankie over. Doesn't have the experience required to be able to open the 4 energy door with a timed level up, but there is a pickup right next to the 4 energy door that is very, very high up. And so Poogle is making the play. She's saying, I know it takes a while to come over and check this pickup, but if it's something important and I find this earlier than my opponent, I am going to get an advantage. Just an ability cell, very nice resource, but no major advantage gated from that one-off pickup.
Guard back towards Spirit Caverns, going through that door that they opened earlier and saving the couple seconds that you mentioned. Ooh, there's my favorite pickup, double jump.
There it is, indeed. All right, double jump is amazing because it allows our runners not only to get a little bit of additional height with a second jump that happens midair, but it also gives us a little bit of air retention. And paired with bashing, our runners are going to use a technique known as bash gliding, which is returning to neutral inputs after you start a bash in order to be able to get distance and speed, more importantly. And having double jump just allows us to make use of those bash glides for even longer. So that's very, very nice find. As you mentioned, double jump is an incredibly versatile skill.
But over on the left on Poogle's screen, she's actually elected not to go straight to Spirit Caverns and instead go through Black Root. Now this area is pretty slow, but there is a skill tree in here for Dash that we do need to collect. So she's elected to do this first because she does need to finish it at some point.
Right, exactly. And so we saw a glitch also where the runners ended up skipping a cutscene. We'll touch on that a little bit later because we're going to see it come back up. But if you see the ability menu come up, it either because they want to level up ability or they want to do something like saving the game in any sort of location that they end up choosing using a glitch known as Save Anywhere. So we'll see that happen in a little bit, especially here over on the left, as Poogle is going to be the first to return to Blackroot Burrows and get to turning in the orb at the pedestal.
And so right now it does look like Poogle has a bit of a lead, but that's a little deceptive because Guard went out of the way to find the
Yeah, Guard just taking a little accidental death there and getting sent all the way back to the start. Did not place a safety save down there. So is going to potentially have to go all the way back down. I don't know if they actually had the orb or not. Yeah, they have to go back down and get the orb. That's okay. That's not really a big time loss. Maybe just a little bit of nerves here for a player. No problem at all, though. Just not very far to traverse to get back to the same location. As over on the left, get ready for the trick Save Anywhere. The ability menu is going to come up. We're going to be able to move around with it up. Leveling up the ability while we're moving around at a specific time in the cutscene is going to allow us to either skip or enter the cutscene. In this case, we're going to be entering the cutscene and doing some nice movement in the dark in order to check one additional pickup before the tree.
And it also looks like we both runners managed to find Charge Flame up in the top of Blackroot. That is a skill that's pretty useful in the early game because it allows you to break blue walls as well as blue plants. And blue plants are checks. So the earlier you're able to do that, the more you're able to check those plants.
Exactly. And so there we saw a quit out and reload, and that's going to allow Poogle to enter this cutscene. So moving around in the dark on the left, she's going to do a nice sequence break to check this mapstone pickup over here. Normally you need dash to be able to check this, but because we're speedrunners, we like to sequence break things. And we get the check. It's an energy cell. So this slightly actually increases the probability that dash is going to be coming up fairly early in the seed. But it's not guaranteed that we'll find dash, but that does increase the probability of it. So we'll see if dash ends up coming up. But with Charge Flame, we're also going to get a nice check on Charge Flame tree without having to spend 4 keystones, which is a really big time save for our runners.
And that, once they get to it, will also be our third tree, which will be the first, what's the word for it? I'm blanking out.
A clue. No, you're good. Yes.
The first clue that our runners will get.
Yeah, so why is the clue system important, Turtle? Tell us a little bit more about that.
So there are 2 pickups that we absolutely need no matter what in order to complete the seed. Those are Water Vein and Sunstone, the keys that open up the dungeons that we need to go to.
Yeah.
And so since those are sometimes well hidden, there's a clue system implemented that at 3, 6, and 9 trees, you'll get a clue to what biome that or one of those keys will be in.
Exactly. And so we don't know which dungeon key we're going to get clued to first, so to speak, but our runners are definitely hoping for like Water Vein or Sunstone. Gumon Seal opens up Forlorn Ruins, and Forlorn Ruins is a place that runners don't normally want to go in a randomizer race specifically, simply because there is actually no skill location in Forlorn. It is one of 2 areas on the map that just like don't have a dungeon location associated with it. The other one being Mount Horu that has the final escape, so Sunstone is important anyway to be able to get access to that. But over on the left, we see some more Crusher shenanigans from Poogle as she is going to be heading down here. So this is the question, right? We have 3 energy, so we can glitch out in order to get access to the right side. But oh yes, Poogle! Wow, eyes on the left. This is an excellent maneuver. Poogle does not have Stomp right now, but the Frankies, if they are put in really nice locations, they can actually stomp floors and pegs for us. So Poogle just opened a direct pipeline to another skill location, which is going to be double jump tree. And that is a really nice maneuver. I'm a big fan of this play, but Poogle, get out! I know this area is called Raziel No in the community as a meme, but that was very close to being a Poogle No.
And it's also very important that Poogle kept that Frunky alive. This Frunky is one of the few enemies in the game that will not respawn if it's killed, and it's very, very useful, not only for that stomp peg, but it can also be used to stomp the way towards Grenade Tree later on in the seed.
Exactly. And ooh, the 4th energy cell from Poogle. So
Ooh.
not only does she have a direct pipeline to double jump tree, but she can just come over here and open this 4 energy door into an area that we call Death Gauntlet. Because it's easy to die in and it can be a huge pain in the normal speedrun of the game. And Poogle is deciding to immediately go into Death Gauntlet to be able to get access to the Moon Grotto TP, as well as a nice sort of vein of high density pickups. While on the right, Guard is actually going to get us our first clue, as Turtle Guy was explaining earlier. So going to be really interesting, but oh, there's charge dash efficiency. Ooh, if our runners find dash, that could be really nice, as Poogle finds wall jump.
Yep.
Wow.
It's not super useful when you already have wall interaction through climb, but it's still a very nice skill to have that allows you to get some more upwards momentum from jumping on walls.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of interesting because, like, climb double jump is pretty effective, but, like, with double jump interacting with walls, with wall jump, just it's so much nicer. So I'm sure Poogle is going to be breathing a sigh of relief. But so far, I mean, the seed has been going Poogle's way in terms of what she was hoping for. She's nailed some really hard execution tricks, and she found an early bash without finding grenade. So able to use that skill to great effect without having to worry about having difficulty doing bash grenade tricks, which are very difficult to do on the controller.
Absolutely. Though the seed may still turn out to be both what Poogle wanted and what Guard wanted, as we only saw with our hint the location of the Gumon seal. So Water Vein and Sunstone could both still be anywhere. And it'll take a long time to get that 9th hint, or the 9th tree to find that last clue.
Yeah, for sure. And so as sort of a summary of the state of the race, both runners look like they end up having 3 trees. No, scratch that. Guard should have 4 trees because they collected Sea Flame Tree. And then Poogle only has the 3 skill locations so far. And so that sort of gives like a slight advantage to Guard, it may seem like. But Guard doesn't have 4 energy. And Poogle did have find 4 energy. So I don't really quite remember which energy cell Guard ended up missing. But Guard having to come up here to Valley is a little bit of a disadvantage because he is just further away from where he wants to go, which is the next skill location. But there it is. There is the 4th energy cell. And yeah, we see the immediate Alt-R for Guard because going through the top of Hollow Grove in order to get access to the right side is slow. And the pickup density is pretty low with the skill sets our runners have. So Guard making the smart play and just immediately coming back here to go over to Moon Grotto.
And Moon Grotto is, I know, a favorite of a lot of people because it is the most pickup dense area in the game. There is just so much to find here, and the way that logic works, you'll often find at least 1, if not more, skills here. Sometimes there'll be none, but more than likely they're going to find something good.
Right, for sure, indeed. Especially when we have like a seed that has early bash, and it's like you get bash, and you're like, okay, I guess right side's done then, or like the entire map. Oh boy. Okay, so we're gonna see Guard come back down to the teleporter in order to heal up, which is a nice play. Fully refills the energy and health, then is going to head back immediately into Death Gauntlet. This is a nice little safety measure, but also refills the energy so that you can check a Poison Swim pickup that I think Poogle opened the door to, but didn't end up checking. So over on the right, we're going to see if Guard goes for it. No, opts not to. Just instead is going to come up here and check this plant. Nicely done. Just 32 experience, but is making progress and clearing out the pickups. Okay, so over on the left, Poogle is going to be coming down into what we like to call Gumo Hideout, which is the name that the game associates with it. Oh no, it's going to opt instead to turn around. Caster's Curse. Nicely done, Poogle. And it looks like maybe making a play for Stomp Tree. Yeah, this is great. Okay, so over here, what's going to end up happening is Poogle is going to try and move around a spider shot or a frog shot in order to break a ceiling, and then maybe doing some double bashes to be able to check it. Or Poogle could just be coming over here in Grotto in order to check some pickups. We'll see what she ends up deciding, as Guard is also following suit.
Stomp Tree in the vanilla game, you have to climb all the way up through the Ginso tree and watch a couple cutscenes in order to get into the area. But if you have the skills and you know what to do, there are a couple different ways and a couple different locations that you can get into the Stomp Tree area, making it a very interesting thing to route in to randos.
Yeah, great point. And so we saw Poogle there busting out some double bashes, as you see the instant replay in the bottom left, where usually bash, you can only bash once. However, if you bash on the frame after you release bash, or excuse me, after bash activates initially, this is a glitch known as a double bash, and basically allows you to redirect Ori in whatever direction without affecting where the shot actually ends up going. That being said, for the randomizer itself, in order to remove some input bias between controller and keyboard and mouse users, we ended up adding a functionality that guarantees that you will always activate a double bash if you use a special bind, which is specific to the randomizer. So very nicely done for Poogle to be able to show off her finesse with this tech. Still very, very difficult to utilize properly. Okay, so over on the left, we see Guard going into an area that we have given the nickname Glide Vault because last tournament it had like some really silly high probability. And oh, there's clean water coming out of Guard. That's going to be really nice for the final escape. Because if you don't find that pickup, then you have to do a 5 to 6 health damaging swim. Our runners do have a lot of health, but the final escape has a lot of fire, doom, death, and dying things. As on the left, look at this turtle. Poogle is going crazy with these double bashes.
Wow.
All right, so bringing the shot over to the right, slow and steady wins the race. And Poogle is going to try and get the shot between spikes and the ceiling. If it touches anything, that shot is going to disappear. But look at that angle. Absolutely beautiful. On 1 health, it is able to break the ceiling, getting her access to swamp area, and more importantly, a skill location that must be activated in order to finish out the seed. Well done,
But on the
Poogle.
other hand, Guard did just find Dash in Grotto. And Dash is, as the name would imply, an incredibly fast skill that allows you to zoom horizontally along the map.
Oh no, Poogle!
Oh.
Okay, that's a really unfortunate death for Poogle on the left. She just spent all that time double bashing a shot in order to get access to Swamp. Didn't have the energy to save, and so if she wants to be able to get access to Swamp again in the same method, she has to do that insanely difficult sequence of double bashes all over again. Meanwhile, Guard was at a little bit of a deficit in the early game versus his opponent, but now finding Dash in Grotto, making great clearing of all these pickups in Grotto as they progress to the next skill location. Guard has Dash, which saves a metric bunch ton of time, and is going to have a 2-tree advantage over his opponent coming into this mid game. That is really, really nice for Guard.
Mm-hmm. It just shows how tiny differences in the routing can sort of build and add up, and sometimes you get randoed. That's just all there is to it, but these two are still performing wonderfully.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Impressive stuff all across the board. And so Guard is now going to be doing a little bit of a puzzle here. This is a little bit away from Double Jump Tree, but it does have 2 pickups in it, and there's 2 pickups right around it. So it's a nice little 4 pickup area, and an area that we like to call a vault. So if you ever hear one of the commentators use the word vault, it just signifies an area that is gated by or has pickups immediately next to a 4 energy door. So here, coming down into this lower Grotto vault, or the Gumo hideout vault, we see a keystone and 105 experience. So nothing too terribly useful, as we see Poogle on the left going back in, not giving up with this trick. I love this tenacity from her.
Absolutely. And double bash chains like this are way harder than Poogle is making it look right now. If the pickup hits you, it's gone. If the pickup hits a wall, it's gone, and you have to carry it constantly.
Yeah, and
she's
so
just
like
making it look like child's play.
yeah, it's ridiculous. Like with keyboard and mouse, you can direct each shot with your mouse cursor on the screen, but Poogle is using only an analog stick to be able to do all of those angles, both for the shot and for Ori itself. So unbelievable play from Poogle, and is going to be coming back in here. Yep, taking a 1 damage from the swim, nicely done, and makes it to the 2 key door. Hopefully she takes this energy here and saves the game. Otherwise, I might have a heart attack. And yeah, okay, there's the energy crystal. Oh, thank you, Poogle.
Oh,
okay.
that's a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so now we're going to see guard at double jump tree. You see that little tree over there on the right. And boom, it updates trees 4 of 10, and also they got Goomon Seal for the first clue. So our runners are going to have to clear 9 trees in order to be able to deduce where that sunstone and where that water vein is on the map. So not a very nice sort of clues RNG for our runners, but that's okay. That just potentially means that we have a longer seed ahead of us. But wow, there it is. Over on the right, guard finding water vein behind the 4 energy door in the death gauntlet swim. This is insane. Guard has bash, guard has dash, double jump, everything he needs to be able to do every single tree on the right side of the map. So guard, yeah, absolutely happy to see
so
that water
excited
vein
about
pick up.
finding that. Absolutely.
Yep, and we also remember that Poogle actually did open the door, but it is so easy to be able to forget to check that pickup after opening the door and not checking it. So we'll see if Poogle does end up remembering to check that, but hopefully that's a sign that Poogle has the foresight to be able to go back for that in order to check it. We'll see momentarily if she decides to do so after this altar from this stomp tree location, but yeah, Poogle getting her first clue. That is her 3rd tree, with Goomon Seal being in Grotto. She's going to circle that. Maybe having a little bit of mixed emotions on finding out that Forlorn was the first clue, indeed.
And Poogle also didn't find clean water earlier. So the damage boost to get into that underwater vault is absolutely doable, but it's a little bit tricky and you have to be quick on your fingers.
Right, exactly. Because in logic, pickups... Wow, okay, sorry, I'm going to interrupt this. Over on the left, Poogle. So these shots are not as kind as spider shots. Spider shots, you can just double... Okay, yeah. You can just double bash in the same direction and just follow that shot. But those shooty shark guy shots are just unbelievably difficult. You have to double bash at an acute angle in order to be able to keep with the shot and not take a damage from it. But Poogle making the smart decision, saying, hey, this trick is really difficult. Maybe it's not worth it. We don't have charge jump yet. So I am just going to instead altar and start doing some tree cleanup that I didn't do early on. And so this is going to close some of the tree vantage that guard ended up having over his opponent. Okay, so it looks like guard is going to be heading into Ginso Tree. You want to tell us a little bit about this dungeon turtle?
Yeah, Ginso Tree is a very, very vertical area. So while guard doesn't have charge jump or bash grenade, he still has a ton of skills to be able to traverse this area very, very quickly, including bash itself, as well as dash, which can give rocket jumps.
Right, exactly. And so we're going to see guard on the right making great use of these skills. Beautiful usage of bash, not only to go up really quickly to check that health cell, but also to bring him back down before dashing through all of these teleporters. Very nice play from guard. I'm sure we're going to see a very quick mini boss kill having all of these skills. Poogle on the left gets Sea Flame Tree. That's her 4th tree, and is going to be heading on to her next destination. Looks like Poogle does maybe want to do a few extra checks in this area before heading off to the next skill location that she wants to clear.
And we know that in this nearby area, there is double jump in Spirit Caverns.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Poogle does not have double jump yet. So we're going to see if Poogle does go over to Spirit Caverns, which is a really nice place to check, because it has 5 really quick pickups in it, and it does not require many skills in order to be able to get access to it in logic. So very, very nice place to just really dig out. Heads up play for Poogle remembering to check Spirit Caverns 25 minutes into a seed. I almost certainly would have forgotten myself.
Yep, and there she does it. Finds double jump. Oop. And on the other side, guard just finds warmth returned. Everyone's favorite pickup.
Oh, yes. I feel nice, warm, and cozy on the inside. As guard now furthering that tree advantage that he has over his opponent by activating that tree, is going to decide to continue to dig in Ginso. Upper Ginso is an area that is unlocked with very small skill sets, and he has Bash, which pretty much means that the dungeon where you normally get Bash in a normal playthrough, right, is going to be fully explorable. And so Guard is absolutely making a really nice play to be able to check a high density area of pickups that are very, very quick to check. Okay, so Poogle on the left is going to be making the play now for Lower Grotto. Hopefully, Poogle does end up checking the left side of Grotto and finds that dash pickup in order to be able to do those zoomies really fast. But meanwhile, using a save anywhere glitch to once again just save the game, we glitch out the game in order to be able to move around with the ability menu. Leveling up an ability ends up saving the game for us, and then quitting out and reloading allows us to either skip or enter cutscenes, and it's different for every single cutscene. But there, right, Poogle just did something to the same effect, dropping the spirit link and then rekindling that, or just resaving at that point after crossing a cutscene trigger. So we don't necessarily need a glitch to be able to skip these cutscenes, but it's just simply the action of saving and quitting and reloading that is incredibly powerful, especially for the randomizer itself.
Mm-hmm. And so Guard has now alt-R'd out of Ginso, thinking that he has gotten everything he can from it. There's a little bit more up top, but once you get past those 4 keystones, it is not as dense by a long shot. So Guard's going to explore elsewhere to try to find more progression to left side.
Yeah, really nice point. And so over on the left, we see Poogle picking up that dash pickup. So going to be able to move around very fast, finds Goom on Seal and sees that it is gated by clean water. So maybe that lessens the chance of Forlorn being a reasonable play in the seed. But that being said, I mean, we also know that clean water is on the map and not in a too terrible location. And wow, look at this, Poogle skipping pickups, maybe feeling a little bit of pressure here, or just simply that Poogle, somebody who usually runs on a higher difficulty of logic, is just very confident with her ability to use these 2 power skills to be able to get through a seed. Very nice quick check there on the pickup, takes an intentional death to be able to save warp back to the location that she saved, getting to the tree in less time. Very awesome tech coming out of Poogle in order to be able to optimize her play. And meanwhile, Guard coming over here to Stomp Tree to be able to close out the remainder of his right side trees. The only one that's going to be remaining after this is indeed going to be a Light Grenade Tree. Oh yeah, and we are also getting informed that this is going to be the 6th tree for Guard. So we are going to get the clue, and it is Sunstone and Gitzo. Oh no, this is so bad. Oh, this is so bad for Guard. Oh no.
He's going to have to revisit Ginso, and since he didn't unlock the teleporter, that means he's going to have to climb all the way back up. Oh no.
And Guard, having full cleared all of the pickups leading up into Upper Ginso, just absolutely knows that that it is going to be at the very tippy top of Ginso. So that's a little unfortunate. While meanwhile on the left, there's so much action going on here, folks. Poogle is taking that same Frankie that she used to stomp the peg through these crushers. If the Frankie jumps at full height, no, it will actually end up taking a death. So there, what Poogle was doing was dashing in one direction to aggro the Frankie, and then dashing out of the aggro range of the Frankie. If she does this, the Frankie will end up doing only short hops. But here, the Frankie's a little bit behind. She's going to have to do another pull, I think, on the other side of the crushers. Ooh. Actually takes a death, no problem, has a really nice save at the waypoint. While on the right, I'm so sorry, so much action. Guard is going to use this Frankie over here in order to stomp the peg.
So it looks like Guard is thinking that he'll get more skills by going over to the left side like this, which he can hopefully use to climb Ginso Tree faster on his revisit.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because we don't really need Sunstone until the very end of the seed, right? Like, we know Water Vein's not in Horu at this point, right? Because we have Water Vein. And so, or at least Guard does. Poogle doesn't. Poogle doesn't have Water Vein yet. But Poogle nicely done luring this Frankie, using a bash to be able to get it over the spikes, which can also kill it. Then is going to try and dodge the damage. If the Frankie lands on her, she will take a death. And 2 more hits from the spikes of the quills. No, Poogle gets over, drops the safety save, and the floor is broken, getting her access to a Light Grenade Tree.
Oh man, Poogle has been playing so dangerously this seed, and it's amazing to see, but it is, my heart cannot keep up all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Just very impressive play breaking out that sequence break. Really awesome stuff.
Ooh, on the right here, now we see Guard attempting a strat called Fast Stompless. Oh, and gets it first try!
Wow,
Wow, so
that is incredibly impressive.
that trick is done by bashing a spider shot at a very specific angle and then deloading a wall. And that allows you to break that rock and get Feather without even needing Stomp. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely incredible. It cannot be stressed enough how incredibly precise that angle is to in order to bash the spider shot. If the spider shot's even just a little bit off, it just will end up missing, and then you have to either go back to your save at that location to try the trick again, or you can just maybe go over to the rocks and do something else. But very nicely done, and that was the only way for Guard right now to be able to break those rocks. So really heads up play in order to pull out a trick as difficult as that on the spot.
Absolutely. And up on the left, we're going to see Poogle get the 6th clue. What's she going to do with it? Now that she knows that the Sunstone is in Ginso, but she doesn't have the water vein to get in there.
That's right. And so Poogle, now having done Light Grenade Tree, is not going to have any other right side trees that she can get access to right now. But Poogle actually making the play to come back over here into Blackroot. Meanwhile, Eyes on the right. Guard is doing the next incredibly difficult skip, which is known as Sorrow Bash. Taking this bird at really specific angles is incredibly important in order to be able to get into the section, because we don't have Wind Restored. We don't have Glide also. So it's going to be insane watching Guard not only on this trick, but also trying to work through Sorrow. And so both the positioning of the bird is incredibly important, but then also the angles that you end up bashing the bird at. And so we see Guard recognizing that the bird was going too far to the right, adjusts it by bringing the bird over to the left, and gets into Sorrow Pass, but it's not over yet, because Guard does not have Glide.
Glide is one of those skills that when you first play, you might not think it's that useful, or at least when you first play Rando, but once you get into Sorrow, Glide is everything, and not having it makes this area incredibly difficult. There are definitely still ways to get around, which we're about to see, but it is not an easy area to play.
Yeah, this is potentially sort of an area where Poogle could actually pull a little bit of an advantage, because if Guard really struggles in Sorrow a bit, then this will buy Poogle time to be able to track down the water vein, to make up for lost time and get over to that left side of the map where Guard currently is. But Guard, very nicely done, is going to break the ceiling, but does not have charge jump, does have dash. So if Guard does know this strat, there is a way to get through here. Oh no, yeah, this is not going to quite cut it. And so maybe a little bit of just nerves coming in for Guard for trying to figure out how to do this. No, does not know it. Okay, so there's a laser there that you can C-dash through in order to be able to get to a tumbleweed that you can double bash all the way through that section, but is incredibly difficult and incredibly precise. Guard making the heads-up play to be able to say, hey, I don't quite have the skills I need to be comfortable sequence breaking through Sorrow, so I'm just going to put it off and instead go for my next tree. And look at this, skipping pickups in Misty, because Guard knows that Sunstone is in Ginso.
Guard is practically in go mode. He has the 3 main power skills of the game. Charge. No, he doesn't have charge jump. I'm sorry. He has dash and bash, though, which are still 2 power skills, very, very versatile, and can get you almost anywhere.
Right, exactly. And Guard skipping a lot of these pickups, it can be a little bit tricky, because only having 3 keystones right now, where has to get keystones in order to go into Upper Ginso, right? Because there's that 4 key door there. Sorrow, unless he finds Sorrow TP and Stomp or Charge Jump, then is going to have 4 more keystones for Sorrow Pass. So requiring 8 keystones to be able to finish out the seed, Guard's going to have to find 5 or find some other way in order to be able to generate those. Luckily, we do have a glitch that allows us to duplicate keystones, but we're running out of areas where that is going to be an easy thing to do, and Guard on 1 health and Misty. Wow.
Both runners are just showing us some incredible feats with 1 health left. Oh, my heart.
Yeah, this is just so intense. I'm so glad we're showcasing these 2 racers in the seed. They're doing such an incredible job working through it. But Guard is now going to be working their way over to Misty, and here it is. Guard is going to activate the tree, and boom, 8 out of 10 trees done. The only one that's left is going to be Sorrow Pass for Guard, as well as Light Grenade Tree, which we saw Poogle use a dash trick in order to use a Frankie in order to break that floor. So we're going to see if Guard is familiar with that trick, or if Guard's going to be digging more for Stomp or Climb and Charge Jump.
And Poogle is now following through with Valley, also probably going to have to do the same fast Stompless trick. So if you missed it the first time, because that was incredibly fast the first time, hopefully we'll be able to see it here again.
Yeah, here we go. And so a little bit of a missed teleport from Guard, no problem. I do that all the time. On the left, though, I mean, this is insane. Like, we tried to cast our runners doing these tricks at the same time last time. Poogle, nice angle in the shot, nice position. I'm sure that's going to work, although casters are cursed. Guard on the right. Yep, I knew it.
It's whenever just such a tight trick.
Yeah, whenever I'm playing, I just it's so easy to be like, yes, that shot was good. But then whenever I'm commentating, I get it wrong every single time. It's so funny. Meanwhile, Guard with a successful, nice lure on the Frankie to get him past the Crushers and that ceiling spike. But it's not over yet. Guard is going to have to survive while this Frankie is going to come over and stomp the floor itself. With 7 health, it looks like Guard is not going to have any problems whatsoever, even if he takes a bunch of damage from these spikes in the Frankie. But yeah, gets through. Okay, so breaks down into... Yeah, okay, good.
Oh!
And a beautiful safety save. Yep, beautiful safety save right there.
Oh, man.
All right, so question for you, Turtle. If you were Poogle in this case, do you think you would want to go to Misty or Sorrow first?
I definitely think... Ooh, that's hard, because Poogle doesn't know where Water Vein is.
Right,
and so if you go into Misty without knowing where Water Vein is, you might have to leave without finding the second half, or any pickups in the second half. And if Water Vein turns up there, well, then you have to revisit all of Misty.
Yeah, and then go through all the way from the start of the dungeon again, because it's like a procedurally generated dungeon, or not procedurally generated, but you have to hit certain checkpoints in order to unlock next parts of the level. Yeah, and Poogle is going to take that risk. Poogle is indeed going to come in here, and the really important aspect of this is not going to be the 9th skill tree that Poogle is going to activate. So Poogle's not going to know where Water Vein necessarily is. Fortunately for us as casters, we know that this is not going to be too bad for Poogle, because we know that Water Vein's right in the start area in Death Gauntlet itself. But having a little bit of trouble with these enemies in the late game have a lot more health and also can potentially deal a lot more damage. But nicely done from Poogle to make that check.
Birds are jerks. They will just chase you down.
Okay, so we're getting word that Guard also ended up leveling up Ultra Defense, which is really nice. It reduces damage from all damage sources. Some of them it cuts in half, others it reduces it by a slightly less margin. But one of the most important abilities in the randomizer itself, because it allows us to sequence break the final escape, especially when we're on low health amounts.
Yeah. And so now Guard is revisiting through Ginso to try and find his Sunstone. It's somewhere up top, and he has to go all the way back up, but...
I actually like this play, especially because Guard may be looking for something else like Glide or Charge Jump, and they have a much more reasonable probability of coming up in Ginso Tree than they do in left side pickups, per se, just based on how the logic ends up working. And so Guard making the revisit to Ginso is not only going to be here potentially to find that final dungeon key that they are required to finish the seed, but they could also end up scouting out a skill. And look at this on the left. Poogle taking this frog over this spike pit. If the frog touches the spikes, the frog will end up taking a death. But over here, the frog is completely fine against these spikes, as we see the frog landing on them. And this is to break the floor in order to be able to make some checks in Lower Valley. Poogle doesn't have Stomp or Charge Jump to be able to break that floor normally. So very nice sequence break from Poogle, hoping to take a power play here and find an important skill.
Absolutely. And if we draw our attention back to Guard on the right, he is in the upper parts of Ginso. So any of these pickups that he's getting now could be the Sunstone that he really needs.
Okay. Here it is. 39 experience. It's not that. There is I don't know if he checked the lower left pickup yet, but there is one pickup on the right side. Oh, he did. Okay, so he did check both pickups in that left room. So there's a plant over here where it could be, and if it's not, then we are going to see that glorious Ginso escape, and hopefully the Ginso escape music.
Oh man.
Okay, so guard checks the plant, and it's stomped.
Stomped.
Wow. All right, that is really nice. That is actually going to make a sequence break in Sorrow a little bit easier if guard does try and go back to Sorrow. But we don't know if guard is comfortable like going back there right now immediately.
Yeah, and that's nice to have still, but it's not the Sunstone he was looking for. So he still has to keep going up through the escape.
Yay! Awesome. This is something that we rarely get to see in the randomizer itself. And so the escape sequence for Ginso is probably one of the most nostalgic moments in Ori and the Blind Forest as a casual playthrough. And it is just as fun to speedrun through as well. So 22 experience for the first pickup. While on the left, Poogle, after my own heart, is going to be in Forlorn looking for some pickups. I really hope there's something important in here.
Absolutely. Not
Okay, here it is.
Usually...
Yeah, go
Not
on.
an area that you... We're just on the same level, Muffin.
Yeah, go for it. Take it.
Forlorn isn't an area that in the randomizer you usually want to see. There just aren't any trees here. And there's a couple of keystone doors that you might have to waste keystones on. But it might have something like
It's
Grenade!
Grenade!
And on the other side, Guard does find the Sunstone in the final escape. And now all he needs is that charge jump tree in Sorrow.
Okay, so 2 out of 3 of the grenade jump pickups have been found. We only need climb, and then that's it. I mean, not climb, charge jump, excuse me, and then that's going to be it. Poogle taking a little bit of a death is going to lose the grenade pickup, maybe? I don't know if she went back to get it, but wow, Guard is making the play to go back into Sorrow in order to try and close out this seed. So having to do Sorrow Bash again and get up there into the dungeon. So we're going to see if Guard does know a sequence break in order to be able to get through that tasty spike corridor. Okay, on the left, Poogle is going to be skipping a cutscene and then is going to opt to head back up in order to be able to regain that grenade pickup by the looks of it. No, is going to opt to Alt-R and back out. We'll see if she goes back to Forlorn to get grenade, or if she does she still have it?
I think she got it on the way down?
She did. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. All right. So here we go. On the right, let's see if Guard does know how to do this. He does. Walking up to the laser and dashing through it allows us to displace ourselves, because when we charge dash, for whatever reason, some of the frames of the charge dash itself are like actually not present there. And so what we can end up doing is taking this tumbleweed that Guard accidentally bashed to the right and double bashing it all the way through the dungeon. So Guard a little bit perplexed as to what to maybe do. If he just takes a death, he can actually just end up doing that area again in order to get it. But no, actually opts to resave the game. So is going to, yep, nice, pop the boulder back out and take it up. This, I cannot stress enough how unbelievably difficult this trick is that Guard is going to be going for.
Ooh. The window for charge dashing through a laser is way tighter than it looks sometimes, with how often these runners will just pull it off like it's nothing. But it is a little tight, as we just saw with Guard.
Oh my goodness. And so there's a door outside of charge jump tree, Turtle.
Oh,
And what is that resource? What is
She
that
doesn't
resource
have
you need in order to
keystones.
open it? Yep.
You need
Yep.
4 keystones in order to get through that door. Guard has 1. You can
Yeah.
key dupe, but ooh.
This could be
Then he'll have to
potentially
tumbleweed
monumental
on
for Poogle. Because if Guard brings this tumbleweed all the way up, brings it over to the tree and realizes that he doesn't have the keystones for it, and then ends up leaving the tumbleweed over there, that's Guard's way of getting over there. And yep, there it is. The only thing that could have happened to be able to have Guard be able to salvage this was finding 3 keystone pickups in these 3 pickups. And nope, both of them are just not keystones. So, oh no, also going all the way back down to the bottom. And walks through the tumbleweeds. Yeah, so if you double bash this tumbleweed once, it actually bugs it out and allows Ori to be able to walk through it.
This is a really difficult situation now for both runners. Guard with this tumbleweed strat and his lack of keystones, and Poogle just searching for the water vein. Oh man.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Guard is going to be rocket jumping all the way back up. That's a nice glitch using charge dash and canceling out with a jump before you hit an enemy, or you can just bind them all to the same key in order to be able to get back up to the ceiling at the top of this Sorrow location. So Guard, making use of these double bashes, has to not only position the tumbleweed, but also Ori itself, so doesn't slam their face into these tasty, tasty spikes. Because yes, they are delicious and they might look a little bit like Doritos, but I can promise you they do deal a metric bunch ton of damage. And makes it over, and then realizes, oh man, and Guard just taking a moment to realize the gravity of the situation. And what does Guard do, right? What does he do? What does he do in this case, right? Has to maybe do another revisit into Sorrow, but no, is going to decide to end up exploring Sorrow a bit to try and track down some keystones. I don't even know what I would do in Guard's position here. This is a really tough situation.
Absolutely. And he did dupe one keystone when he was up there, so he does have two now. He only needs to find two more, but that's still two that he doesn't have.
That's right. And so coming over here is actually a key door. If Guard does know a setup, he could actually key dupe at this door and be able to go back up to the tumbleweed section. But it is so, I cannot stress enough that while you're speedrunning a randomizer, you're thinking about what you have currently, and you'll just forget that you have skills. You're thinking about all the pickups that you've checked and pickups you haven't checked. You're thinking about the next thing that you have to do. And so like compartmentalizing all of this insane information in order to try and speedrun a game as difficult as Ori and the Blind Forest is just so insanely hard. So I am just so impressed by Guard's tenacity with sticking with the seed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, meanwhile, on the left, Poogle is going to be going through Grove because maybe she did get the clue for Water Vein. I'm not entirely sure, but checking over here for this grenade pickup, only ability cell in that one in particular, and then is going to be checking this tree pickup, which is only 11 EXP.
And it looks like Poogle does not actually have the Water Vein hint. Poogle still needs to find the climb tree, the bash tree, and the charge jump tree. So
All
it's
right.
2 more trees needed for that hint.
Okay, and eyes on the right. Guard is coming back through the section. Accidentally just bonks his head on the spikes. Maybe actually thinking of trying to do a key duplication glitch on that door itself. Meanwhile, on the left, Poogle is using this frog over here to be able to break this floor. This trick was actually discovered from people playing the randomizer in order to sequence break over to the stomp tree area, and is actually a strat in a lot of different leaderboard categories. So very cool to see how like tech that's very specific to sequence breaks in the randomizer actually end up oftentimes going over to the leaderboard categories. On the left though, Guard making it over back to the door. What does he do? Yes, going for the key duplication glitch, puts 2 keys in, takes a death, now has the 4 keystones that he needs. All that's standing between Guard and finishing out the seed now is one more sequence of those double bashes to be able to get to the tree and doing the final escape. Wow, Guard is on fire here.
That is 3 successful tumbleweed dashes that he has had to get this seed. That is incredible tenacity.
Drops the save after bashing the tumbleweed to the left. This could be potentially problematic. There is another tumbleweed. It is in a very bad location that you can get to, but it's all up to Guard here. I think Guard can make it over with a charge dash maybe in the air, but has to take 1 damage from the spikes when you double bash off that ceiling. So we'll see how Guard manages this.
And that'll leave him with only 1 or 2 health left, which means he won't be able to take another hit the entire rest of the tumbleweed bash.
Oh my goodness. All right. So accidentally plants in the spikes. This is a very difficult situation for Guard. We cannot stress this enough. On the left though, Poogle goes up to Ultra Defense, which is nice. It's going to get her a nice chunk of survivability, and is now making the play to come back to the left side of the map. So Poogle actually might also be coming over here to get to charge jump tree. And that's incredibly important for the state of the race, because if Poogle's able to get over to charge jump tree immediately, she's going to, oh, nope, opting to go into Misty. So no Tree 9 clue yet for Poogle, as maybe coming back into Misty to scout out some more pickups.
Yeah. Wow, this seed just very much turned into just a single pickup hunt for Poogle. Which,
yeah,
it's hard to see, but she's still just going and finding things all over the map all the time.
Oh yeah, she's doing a great job with these clears, making use of all of these power skills, especially dash and bash, which are the two most important skills in the randomizer. Using them so effectively to be able to get through all of these areas. No glide, no problem. Hits an insanely precise weave there to not take damage from the spikes. That is like, that's unbelievable. It takes me like 5 minutes of grinding to be able to get that. And Poogle just drops it in a race, in a tourney race match. But also, yeah, we're getting an update. Thank you so much. That climb tree also has not been gotten. But over on the left, Guard able to get the tumbleweed. Is this it? Is Guard going to be able to make it over? Takes 1 damage. It's okay. Still has the tumbleweed in a nice spot. And it makes it to the door.
Wow, and he saves. Look at how excited he is.
Yes.
Wow.
Awesome. Clap, 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 clap. I would clap, but I'm doing commentary, and that's in the microphone.
I'll give him 2.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Guard.
That's absolutely a sigh of a massive weight lifted off of Guard's shoulders. And he is now has all the trees, he has the sunstone, and he can go to the final escape.
Yep, that's it for Guard. Guard's going to be zooming to the end. Has so many comfort pickups. The only comfort pickup that Guard doesn't have at this point is like grenade jumps and glide, right? So like grenade jumps are incredibly difficult to begin with, so not necessarily wanting to do those. But then also having bash, having dash is just going to absolutely make the final escape a pleasure to be able to work through.
And so here on Poogle's screen, Poogle is at Climb. So now from here, she doesn't know if the water vein is in Misty or not. So we might see her continue through Misty, or we might see her say, it's not worth it. But she's going to continue and see if she can find anything in the remainder of Misty.
Yeah, I think this is a really logical play from Poogle's end. And you might be like, oh no, like we know where water vein is. But Poogle doesn't know where water vein is, because Poogle cannot watch her opponent. None of our racers can watch any streams or like chats while they are actually racing in order to be able to get some help from other people. This is all Poogle, right? And so this decision here to continue to scout through Misty is because of the worry that water vein is in the second half of Misty. And as you mentioned earlier, Turtle, if Poogle alt-Rs out and leaves Misty preemptively, you have to go back through the entire area in order to be able to get
so
back.
Long.
Yeah, for sure. So I really like this decision from Poogle to be able to continue in the second half of Misty. It's a very, very smart and heads-up play and shows her expertise with working through the randomizer.
And meanwhile, on the right, Guard got a first try door warp, a trick that will take you straight to the final escape from the entrance of Horu. And so now he is going into the final escape, and we'll see how well he does.
Oh my god, there's charge jump! Yes! Alright, 3 of 3. Poogle has grenade jumps. Yay!
Woo!
Okay, I hope we get to see Poogle bust these out. Oh man, I'm happy. Poogle is just doing the seed for me, right? Goes to Forlorn, gets grenade jumps. Absolutely love it. Meanwhile, on the right, Guard bashing up the lanterns, getting through before Kuro is able to take his leaf life. And now is going to be working to the elemental room, one of the most difficult rooms when you do not actually end up having glide. Having a little bit of lag there in the game is going to accidentally cause him to take a death, have to start the final escape over, because in the final escape, you get 1 shot in the tournament. If you miss it, you have to do the entire escape all over again. So not only is it one of the hardest segments to do quickly, but it also punishes you severely for any sort of errors.
It is a great final challenge that you can do in Rando with a ton of different combinations of skills. It is phenomenal to watch different runners do this with whatever they have.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so here is going to be a clean water section, and we're going to see Guard potentially set up for some fish strats. Yep, there we go, double bashing the fish to bring it over. So Guard, eyes on the right. This is going to be very, very funny, right? One of the scariest rooms in the final escape. Yeah, that's right. We just rocket jump to get a bunch of fight, and then we end up clearing it out. But on the left, big find from Poogle tracks down Sorrow TP, which is going to allow her to not have to do the tumbleweed strats that we saw from Guard. So very nice find. And accidentally skips over Water Vein. It's so easy to forget that pickup after you open the door. I do that all the time. So Poogle is going to activate the 9th tree for her. That is going to get her the final clue that is going to be Water Vein is going to be in Hollow Grove, which is in specifically Death Gauntlet itself, which is a little satellite area of Hollow Grove. And meanwhile, on the right, Guard has just over, like, I don't know, has a number of seconds before Guard is going to be finishing out the seed. All that's left is to do some walking with Naru, and then that will be time for Guard, taking a win here in his matchup against Poogle.
And I'd like with Poogle, that Death Gauntlet area is considered Hollow Grove, but the parts right next to it are considered Grotto. So it's a little bit hard to remember what parts of Death Gauntlet are what sometimes. So we'll see if she immediately thinks of that, or if she attempts to go search other parts first.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the really nice things that is going to be going on for Poogle as showing off some really sick double bashing of the spider shot. Oh no, accidentally has the angle just a little bit too high. Is that yes, exactly. And so really nice thing from Poogle from earlier in the seed is that Poogle actually ended up doing a really nice job clearing a good amount of Hollow Grove. So that's really going to cut down the number of pickups from the Death Gauntlet swim and like Horu Fields, and that's about it. That's all that Poogle will have left. Meanwhile, Guard, congratulations on finishing the seed, is going to be closing out with a time of 56:18. GG to Guard.
Absolutely. What a seed for Guard. The amount of tumbleweed bashes that he did and the other strats that he performed earlier in the run was just incredible to watch, but especially those tumbleweed bashes.
All right. Yes, indeed. Okay, so Poogle making it over to the tree itself and is going to altar now and is now going to track down that water vein, heading to the left. So is going to need to come back eventually to that Death Gauntlet area. Is probably going to check Horu Fields first because I imagine that Poogle thinks that she ended up checking that pickup when in reality we know that that is not the case.
And it sucks to go through Horu Fields without Sunstone because you know you're going to have to come back there later. But in this case, there are 4 pickups there that Poogle can get, and that's a good density to check.
All right, that being said, it seems like we have our winner of the race over in the voice chat, so I am going to go ahead and pull in Guard into this for an interview while our runner Poogle is going to be searching for Water Vein and then heading to Ginso Tree in order to get the last skill location and track down that Sunstone pickup. But Guard, tell me, how are you feeling?
Hello, first of all.
Hey.
I was feeling good until I realized I have only 1 keystone.
Oh man, yeah, it was. I have done that multiple times, so I feel everything you're feeling right now. Don't worry, it's completely normal. The randomizer just does this to us, man.
But, I mean, I was lucky finding the water vein so early. And I thought I would go to Ginzo Tree right away, before Stomp Tree. And that was my mistake, because I would get a Sunstone clue, and I would at least search for 1 more keystone to go to the Ginzo Tree and get the TP, or get the Sunstone right ahead, because I had a feeling it is there.
Yeah, for sure. Heads up play indeed. So tell me a little bit about the early game in your seed. You had a really nice play going over to Grotto, like really early, and like tracking down Dash. When you found Dash, were you feeling like you found that ahead of your opponent, or were you just really focused on your execution for the seed itself?
I didn't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
I felt like I got it early, but I didn't know because I died at the Black Root and I lost like a good minute there. So I thought maybe she already went to Moongrado and found her dash, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's absolutely the case. So did you have like an overall strategy like coming into this seed in particular? Do you have like a tree that you like to go to like really early on the right side of the map? Or were you just trying to track down those power skills in order to get through the seed?
Well, I had an idea to go to the left side as soon as possible because we had bash, we had double jump, so it was open. You do the Frankie trick and it's open. But as soon as I found Water Vein, I changed my plans. I changed my plans completely, and then
Oh
it kind of
man.
worked.
Yeah, that is so wild. I mean, you absolutely nailed a lot of insanely difficult tricks, like all throughout the randomizer itself. So I was very impressed to see your play. But that being said, going back to Poogle for a little bit, showcasing off some really nice grenade jumps and is currently trying to track down the water vein, maybe not quite knowing quite where to go. And so, yeah, is going to, I believe, use a Frankie over here to lure it over in order to stomp the peg to check this pickup that we call Buttercell, but maybe not. No, she has a couple more pickups to check around here in this general area. That being said, Turtle, do you have a question that you would like to ask Guard about their performance in the seed?
Sure. So, Guard, at what point did you first think of doing the tumbleweed straps? Was it when you first went up there, or when you found Stomp to find the frog, or what were you thinking about that?
I was thinking at first about Sea Juggle,
Oh,
but
wow!
then
That's
I
another
realized
very difficult
it wouldn't
strat.
work because I had only one ability point and I couldn't do zombies all the way through the door. Well, then I went to search for something because I had a feeling I missed climb, and I assume I did miss climb. And
Right.
once I found Stomp, I already knew I will do Tumbleweed.
Yeah, and so over on the left, back to the action really quickly. Poogle is now going to be luring this Frankie over here. Yep, okay, there it goes, there it goes. And this is because Poogle does not have Stomp. So, like, even sort of with having used that Frankie to stomp the peg, it's not over yet. This Frankie has to get past this Rhino. And so Poogle also has to be close enough for the Frankie to continuously lure it. So nice job managing that enemy and not taking a death. But Frankie stopping in a really specific spot, yes, breaks the floor, and she's going to be able to check this pickup that we call Buttercell, and it is just an ability cell. So vanilla ability cell there for Buttercell. We're going to see if Poogle does sort of deduce where the possible location of Water Vein is going to be. So easy to be able to forget about that pickup, especially like that pickup is part of Hollow Grove, because Hollow Grove like sits right above Glades if you look at the map, and it's kind of weird for it to dip down and split Glades and Grotto in half.
And I think that's like the fourth or maybe fifth time that Poogle has used a Frankie for a trick in this run. Poogle has just been a very friendly Frankie friend.
Yeah, for sure. And so Poogle just like taking a second to be able to think and ponder and maybe giving her hands a little bit of a break. I like this play from Poogle. It's like very easy to like just try and rush and be like, okay, what is it? What is it? Oh no, maybe she realized that Water Vein is the pickup that she ended up forgetting. And indeed, there it is. And Poogle finds Water Vein.
All right.
Alt-R'ing. Yeah, and there's the frantic mouse movement. I love it. I love to see it. So Poogle now, having Water Vein, is going to go immediately to Ginso. She can check every single pickup in Ginso, and so guaranteed to get to Bash Tree, to find the Sunstone, and then to close out that run in the final escape. But Guard, maybe one more question to you from me, and then if Turtle, if you have another question, we'll throw it over to you before wishing our winner here well. But looking at sort of the prelims as well, how are you feeling about the closing out the prelims? Are you going to do like every single seed that you can, or are you just going to do your 5 and get ready for bracket phase? What is your process?
I will probably do as much seeds as I can because you can't get worse in standings. I mean, you can only get better. And I have a lot of free time since I'm on my holiday right now, and I am de-rusting still after my long break, so practice is always good.
Yeah, I mean, like, for feeling a bit rusty, I am just so impressed because you absolutely nailed so many insane strats, like, right out of the gate. But yeah, so Turtle, do you have a question for our winner here?
For sure. So Guard, you mentioned earlier on, before the race, that you wanted maybe a longer seed with some difficult Sunstone and Water Vein locations. Does this meet your expectations?
For my skill set I had, it does. If
Yeah.
I had something like climb or charge jump or I don't know what I missed. Charge jump and climb and grenade jumps would be enough, and this seed would be not that hard. You know, if I missed charge jump somewhere, then it does not meet my expectations for other runners, but for me it does.
Great. Well, Guard, congratulations on your win in this show match. Good luck with the rest of the preliminaries. I hope
Thank
you
you.
have fun. Yes. Great. Thank you.
Thank
That
you
being
so
said,
much.
over on the left, we're going to see Poogle continuing to work through Ginso Tree. Now has made it to the first keystone door. Having 10 keystones remaining is going to have no problems opening the second one. But I mean, you could always key dupe for more, but it just wouldn't actually end up doing anything too terribly important.
And I gotta wonder what Poogle thought when she got the warmth to turn. Seeing that red in the top of my screen always makes my heart flutter. But it's a fake. It's a fake out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, upper Ginso. Poogle is going to be making quick work now. Nice bashes on these shots here, is going to maneuver one of the shots down because she doesn't have Stomp, and is now going to be using Charge Jump in order to get through. Climbing on that wall and Charge Jumping also breaks the floor as sort of a backup for Stomp. And that's one of the really wonderful things about Ori and the Blind Forest as a randomizer itself, is that there's very few hard locks in the run itself. So there's always multiple ways to be able to get through certain sections. Just as you were saying earlier, Turtle, about the final escape.
Mhm. There's always something more to be learned, just either by playing yourself, watching other people. Like, learning the strats is always a blast. And seeing them done is also amazing, especially when the runners are executing at such a high level like this.
Yeah, this has been going so well. I'm just so excited to spend the next 3 months both like casting these matches and then also participating in them.
Oh, man.
That being said, Poogle takes down the Elemental, is not going to grab the teleporter because we don't necessarily need it. Poogle knows that she doesn't actually have to teleport back to Ginso at some time, and instead can just clear the pickups here in the final upper area and then start the escape. Okay, folks. Sorry about we're just having some minor technical difficulties, but as soon as it comes back, yep, there it is. Poogle is going to be able to continue on through Ginso itself. So once that ends up getting smoothed out, we'll be back hopefully with the action. But that being said, Turtle, like how did you feel that this matchup went? Right, like the early game was really fascinating in general, where both of our runners were making a lot of the similar checks, and then Guard actually into Moon Grotto a little bit earlier, right? The lower portions.
Mm-hmm. I think the way both runners routed the early game was pretty smart. They both went for high density areas. They both went for early trees. The only thing that really differentiated them in the early game was that one lucky pickup of Water Vein. Without that, they would have been neck and neck, I think, most of the way through.
Yeah, for sure. It's absolutely amazing. So this is something known as getting randoed, where you
Mhm.
just miss one pickup, and that pickup ends up being like the Achilles arrow, right, into it. But that being said, we're getting word that things are about to come back. So buckle up, folks. We are not over yet with this run from Poogle to close out her. Oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry. I misread something. So nope. But we will get back to the action soon. I promise. I hope to see that happen. But yeah, just as you mentioned, right? Like how you actually end up routing the early game, right? Like Grotto has amazing density, right? They had Bash, they had Sea Flame to be able to destroy plants and stuff like that. And so there's just always really nice usage of these skills, especially a skill like Bash.
Mhm.
How did you feel about like the tree routing as well? Like seeing Poogle go for like Stomp Tree before Double Jump Tree. That was quite an impressive move on her end.
Absolutely. I don't know if I would have been able to pull that off at all. So just the way that she thought of that, routed it in, and then executed on it was amazing to watch.
Yeah, that for sure. That being said, just some stats for you folks while we're waiting. Because this was a free-for-all match, we casted 2 of the runners in this free-for-all match. However, there were 18 combatants in this race here. So finishing in first place was Tritonite. Definitely no surprise there. Tritonite has been a dominating force in the randomizer community as well as the tournament so far, taking first place in every single seed that he has actually run. So very impressive for Tritonite to be able to keep up that pace. And then in second place is actually myself. I actually got second place. I had to run some seeds ahead of time because I wasn't sure if I was going to be here. But enough about that. Back to the action. We are back to the runner's screen overall. And we are going to see if we can get Poogle back up.
Please.
While
we wait, Muffin, what do you think is the hardest trick that we've seen so far in this race between these two runners?
So honestly, like all these double bash chains, like the double bash chain from Poogle in order to get to that right side stomp tree where she took the spider shot through all those spikes. And then of course the double bashing by guards to be able to get through that tumbleweed. Like overall, just guard put on such an impressive performance to be able to both level out sort of their nerves in order to be able to stabilize and go for that strat over and over again, right? Like key duping at that door and then doing it again in order to be able to get to it and get to the charge jump tree. Just very, very impressive. But here we are, we're back. Poogle is going to be over on the left. The timer is not quite showing, but don't worry, we will get an updated timer for that to be able to make sure that Poogle gets the correct end time for the seed overall.
And of course, as soon as the stream's back, we get an amazing grenade jump all the way through Horu Fields. I love seeing that movement. Absolutely.
Absolutely incredible. So grenade jump is what you do is you climb on the wall, you charge up that charge jump, and then you throw a grenade and press that jump key 1/60th of a second later. And if that happens, you get this really insanely large launch that it does not seem like charge jump is supposed to do. But over on the left, Poogle going for door warp. This is also a 1/60th of a second timing press, except here you do not have a visual cue. You have to do it while the screen is actually still black in order to enter it. And yeah, I like Poogle's heads-up play here because also in the randomizer itself, Mount Horu is actually modified in order to remove the lava to allow us to get down here. And the main reason for that is to be able to switch up the order of the rooms that we do it in because in the speedrun, we have a way to be able to sequence break the lava anyway. So Poogle going through, taking down that boss, that is pretty much almost just as fast as doing the door warp itself, if you get it like within 5 tries or so.
And door warp can be very hard, especially at the end of a long run when you're tired, you're nervous, your hands are shaking. Getting that 1/60th of a frame press is difficult.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Poogle now is going to be coming into the final escape itself. We're going to see how she actually ends up managing to go through. Nicely done showing off that beautiful rainbow dash in order to be able to get across that first lava lake area. Coming over here into the lantern room is going to be using 3 sets of bash. Get through before the column of fire hits her.
And Poogle does not have clean water like Guard did, but she has a lot of health as well as ultra defense. So be able to make it through this piranha pool at the very end.
Excellent. Using that fish and bringing it over is also going to be potentially using fish strats instead of going for the final grenade jump. No, does actually opt to do it. Accidentally spawns Kuro, which means that final grenade jump is not going to be doable. You can despawn Kuro, but for some reason the game just soft locks if you try and do the final grenade jump, like 95% of the time. Yeah, but here we go. Okay, back into the lantern room is going to be going for the same movement, but actually gets whacked by that infinite damage, instant death, flaming pillar of lava. No problem, just has to start over the final escape because, of course, there's no checkpoints, there's no saves in the final escape itself.
Yeah. Well, while having a lot of health does help in some rooms, in others, it's just instant death. The lava, the lasers, you can't escape no matter how much health you have. And it makes this area dangerous all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so now Poogle coming back to the fish section doesn't have glide. So Poogle is going to try and take this fish into a really specific position or is going to go for fish strats. Okay, comes over and despawns the first Kuro chase. And then here is the second Kuro chase. So Poogle, oh no, is going to go for the grenade jump. Is she going to get it?
Gets it.
He gets it and doesn't soft lock. Wow, Poogle, absolutely incredible. going over to that nook increases the chance of soft walking because there's another log that can come in and get in your way. But Poogle showing she's made of metal stuff. That is absolutely insane that she just pulled that off. Unbelievable from Poogle.
That skips some like 40-ish seconds of this final cutscene. It's a really, really good time save. When you're really just watching the cutscene and holding it right.
Yes. All right. Awesome play from Poogle. Time's going to be coming up in about 10 seconds as she gets control of Naru, is going to be walking over to be able to finish out this seed and escape its clutches. Poogle, finishing with a time of 1:15:33.83, is going to be finishing. GG.
And again, just another sigh of relief. That was a tough seed to run through. Oh, boy.
Yeah, for sure. So really nice play from both of our runs. We'll extend the invitation to Poogle to see if she would like to be interviewed. So we will find out in just a moment. Okay, so that being said, just once again, this is the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament. This is day number 3, I believe, of the tournament in this preliminary week. So for the preliminary stage, there is no qualifier to be had. Instead, it is just in order to decide the seeding for the double bracket, which is going to be starting next week. But yep, it looks like we do indeed have Poogle on deck. Poogle, how are you feeling?
I don't make that grenade jump in all skills runs.
That was insane with Kuro there too. Are you kidding me, Poogle? You are amazing. That was so incredible. I lost it. I absolutely lost it.
Absolutely. Oh.
Charge jump is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, what was it? Grenade Forlorn? And then where did you find Charge Jump?
Charge Jump was right before the 4th Keystone in Misty. It was the experience going down that spike tunnel.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. So I guess first question over to you, Poogle, is you made a really cool routing decision that I liked a lot, where you actually ended up going to Stomp Tree first before heading down to Double Jump Tree. Was that something you just intended to do, or is that just like, hey, I could go to Stomp Tree, let's just do it. Let's do it.
It was literally just, hey, I can go to Stomp Tree. The problem was I didn't have enough health to damage boost, and then sunk cost fallacy kicked in with Spider Shot.
Yeah, that was tough. So, that was so amazing seeing you do that multiple times. As you sort of head into the mid game, did you have a plan for like how you like to clear general pickups, like going to pick up dense locations, or did you just have like a biome that you like to check in general?
Gosh, what did I do mid-game? I know I tend to not go through Hologrove if I can avoid it, which does often bite me in the butt.
Yeah.
But as far as mid-game, it's just, okay, can I get to left side? Technically. Sure, why not?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So also going in...
Taro teleporter was so nice.
Oh my goodness. Were you considering doing like tumbleweed strats or something?
No, absolutely not. I'm so bad at this. I was honestly planning on just damage boosting through Spike Tunnel.
Right, yeah, with Charge Jump. Yeah, that's a really, really nice strat to do that. But yeah, I mean, like tumbleweed strats on controller, I would never fault anyone for not doing that.
No, I don't even remember where I found Zaro TP at that point, but I saw that and went, oh, that works.
Yeah. So Turtle, do you have a question for our runner?
Yeah. Poogle, what was going into your mind when you went into Misty, still not knowing where the water vein was?
I figured I'd clear Misty, and if it was on the Gumon Seal, then, well, I was out of luck. But I figured, okay, all else fails, full clear Misty. Maybe I'll get something useful if the water vein isn't here? Because I still didn't want to go into Sorrow.
Yeah, and you did find Charge Jump from that, which led to the grenade jumps that we love to see at the end.
I figured, why not? I had them. Let's go.
Aw, yeah. So, Poogle, you mentioned in the pre-run interview that you love this community, and you're here to have fun. Do you have any particular goals coming through prelims for the bracket overall, or are you just going to enjoy running and also helping out with the tournament?
Slightly less execution errors?
Yeah, I think that's a really good goal. I think that's a good goal. Cool.
Slightly less execution errors
Yeah.
and probably a little bit more mindfulness, because had I had a little bit more mindfulness and been a little more conscious of what I was doing, the continuously having to redo the spider shot going to the stomp tree, like breaking through lower part of stomp entry, would
Right.
not have happened, because I would have realized, oh, I don't have any energy to save and I'm at like 1 health.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, managing like resources and skills is incredibly difficult for the randomizer. But that being said, Poogle, great race here today. I was very impressed by a lot of the stuff you brought to the table. GG.
Thanks, and GG, guard.
Okay, great. Well,
Thank you,
folks.
GG.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, both of our runners, and to you, Turtle, for helping out on commentary. My screen name is Covert Muffin, and on truck, we had Oshi as well as Zemsis helping us behind the scenes, and then the restreamer for today was Grease. This is Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament. The preliminary week is this week, and then next week is going to be the start of bracket phase. Our next match is going to be tomorrow at 9 p.m., which I am very, very much looking forward to. Don't miss that one. It is going to be featuring Romulus versus Fluffy Prower. And the channel for that is going to be to be decided a little bit later, but it is going to be on one of the SpeedGaming channels. But from here in Ori and the Blind Forest, from Nibel Forest, thank you, folks. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and evening, and take care. See you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching.